Sorry, I think I have something in my eyes. But right now, one thing that's definitely on our eyes is just how big of a beating that was. EnVy delivering the swift D and defeat is what I want to say. And of course, that was a 16-2 showing there on Dust 2, another D that was delivered. Guys, Natu and Sponge, my goodness, could you have forecasted it?
I got a C word for you, but it's not the one you're thinking. It's clinic, because that's what that was, right? They had a fantastic, basically everything. I don't even know where to start. Their mid-round calling was fantastic. They had a couple of 2v4s pulling out rounds in post-plant situations that they probably shouldn't have been winning as well. The individuals were on form, the mix-up of pace and calling from Karrigan. They had it all. Dust 2 so far for these guys has been their best map, and they look poised on it. The problem is that when they go against the other team, if they win this game, against Furia or the likes of NRG, they don't play Dust 2. So anyway, I'm getting a bit far ahead of myself here, but a positive sign in a 16-2 victory is you don't allow a team like INTZ and the individuals to warm in. The fact they closed that out in such fashion is really good going into the next map of Train.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said before the game, Dust 2 CT side is a lot about taking risks, taking gambles, and reacting to what the T's do. For example, if it happens that the T's are taking long control straight away, what is your action basically? Do you fight it? Do you fall back? They managed to fight it a couple times towards the tail end of it, and they won the rounds. But when they were playing passively, they didn't really react in any way. So what you usually want to do is you play aggressive cat, maybe you try to go in middle, try to make sure there's no flankers coming in, and make it harder for the T's to then eventually execute to the bob side, right? But in these types of situations, it came down to actually INTZ managing to get a 4-man stack on a bob side, for example, but still EnVy just found a way to win a round, right? An individual making a play, someone did flank through catwalk, for example, so everything just basically going the way of EnVy in this one.
And the real unfortunate reality is just how lopsided the first half was, because right off the bat, you've already worked yourself into a corner. You already know that frustration's running high. We can hear them in the hallway probably to this moment. If I took this headset off, we could still hear the frustration just pouring out of these guys in INTZ. And you got to kind of wonder, hey, you know what? They've got to wipe that off going to the next.
I'm not sure if it's frustration or passion, because we know the Brazilians get loud, but having KNG in the hallway there trying to fire you up in what we could just hear through the door with it closed, to me, is a sentiment that, hey, let's get this going, because if we don't get the victory on the board right here, right now, we're out of the tournament, and that's definitely not where they want to be.
Yeah, just to add to that, frustration has to be like, I remember this round where EnVy went for just middle control, basically just waiting for a reaction from INTZ. INTZ goes for an aggressive push from Cat. They get the first 2 kills, they create a 4-on-2, and then Nifty happens. He gets a 4-piece in the end, right? So those are the kind of backbone breakers, basically, where you've done the right thing, you put yourself in a great position to win a round, but then you just get destroyed by one single individual. So that's a tough one to brush off, right?
Right, and any sort of back that you had right there starts to become broken, and it's just, you don't ever want to see your teammates start to point fingers, things like that, which is, you know, we can only speculate as to what's being said out there ahead of what is the next map that is Train.
Well, I think that the fact that it was a closeout, right, that they didn't allow them to get back into the game all bodes very well for EnVy. Going into this, they've only played this map once and they lost on it, but not allowing INTZ to warm into this at all is fantastic, because this means they're going to be starting on the T side, and if they're getting shut out by the double AWP duo of Nifty and JDM, they're not getting a chance to find those picks if they play slower like we've seen them done in the tournament. That plays right into the basic wheelhouse of what EnVy should understand and be able to play with.
For sure. I mean, also adding to the fact that I find INTZ to be one of those like momentum-based teams, right? Where once they get the ball rolling, it's super hard to try and stop, because they don't have great fundamental things or like execute they can fall back on, right? It's just all about them individually doing good calls and then reacting afterwards. So definitely this bodes well for EnVy.
Yeah, and that individual player sort of look into what EnVyUs is doing right now does bode well. I can thoroughly see how if they can continue the scoreline that they've got going on, it's going to end well, because honestly, when we look at the scores of the last map, we look at the numbers, it is pretty evenly dispersed. There's no one really standing out. It isn't sort of like a crazy frag game where we have JDM running around doing whatever JDM wants to do and having that freedom of movement. They've actually seemingly got it together in this moment.
Well, they've definitely got Dust 2 together, right? Because I think they've played it 3 times now and they've won it every single time. So they understand that. Karrigan's done a fantastic job of getting them up to speed. And something else to note, I thought Karrigan might have been a bit more selfish, but you can see that he's actually doing a lot for the team, jumping across as the entry fragger, basically going down to be traded off of. So he's here to help these guys as an in-game leader.
Well, guys, does it end here for INTZ? I need to ask you.
Yeah, let's call it. I think that what I've seen from EnVy right now has sold me on them, at least today.
Yeah, I think it's time to pack it up, boys.
Oh, dear.
Situation is, I mean, as long as EnVy is smart enough not to give a lot of free duels to these guys in INTZ, but play smart, I feel like this is going to be it.
Well, it could be it. but the time is now. It is time to put it all in if you are INTZ, because one map separates you from a place you don't want to find yourself. Trains are being ran, and I mean that we're going to be going to the train yards of DE_train. That's where they could be facing elimination. And, well, the guys bringing up the caboose will be that of Scrawny and Launders. Let's see what they've got for us going ahead of Train.
Train, the name of the game, some do say, and I may have to mirror the sentiment on the desk. 2-0, possibly looking likely if EnVy can take anything that they did on Dust 2 and transition it into this one. We do have to remember, Launders, and this is what's always hot on my mind, is that the one map we saw KNG fall off, his incredible performance here at the Minor, was here.
It was here, but they did win. They won like with a very lopsided scoreline, actually. Yeah, it was like 16-9 maybe?
16-8.
16-8, and he only had 8 kills, and they won.
Yep.
So, what does that tell you now?
That they might just win.
They might just do it, I think. They have a good train. I mean, they looked a little bit sketchy in the early rounds versus Furia, but they got it together quickly. And then after that, had really interesting T rounds. They had one of the most convincing mid to B or B to IV to B splits that I've seen, and it looks like they might be trying that again. There's 2 players at the top of ladder. JDM waiting for a drop, but it is going to be a split outside, and he goes ahead and grabs the first kill. That might not be enough. The CTs have rotated through Z and are now playing back bomb. There's a smoke here in front of Kerrigan, and he'll tell his teammates about it. But there's not much more he can say than that. It's up to them to go ahead and spot and get confirmation on who's left over.
In fact, Kerrigan may have made a bit of an error here. He gives up CT spawn and therefore has not the best spots to try and lock them off from this B split. It's a wraparound, a ruse, and Kerrigan now, because of his smoke, is going to be able to isolate them into the further exit where they do start to push through from. Nifty caught off by Yell, who has the balls to jump through smoke blind. It falls onto Drone. A 1 versus 3 pistol, or INTZ begin the T side with that momentum. USP downrange, denied. Chello picks up that last frag, and it is indeed INTZ with a win in the pistol.
A pistol could be a hell of a way to start for them. Well, you know that could matter dramatically. Just the way they started off last map and then not being able to come back from it could have been a result of losing the pistol and just getting into a negative mindset. But EnVy had to deal with a very kind of tricky T pistol, excuse me. And INTZ pulled that IV split out in a rifle round versus Furia. Here they do it on the first round of the game, which is interesting to see. But again, it was very convincing. And Kerrigan looked like he pulled off the adjustment quite well. At first, as you mentioned, looked like he wasn't sure what was going to happen. But then when he fell back, threw the smoke off, isolated his engagement, took the fights he wanted to fight, you'd say, okay, he maybe had a good grasp or read on what was happening. Now, he is going to be dedicated to IV, it looks like, on train. INTZ have set up in a default pushing and holding back any pushes, from the CTs, and haven't decided where they want to go from here. They've got 3 AKs and 2 SMGs, and at this point have congregated towards the inner site, grouped up as Nifty is standing atop a train with a scout, but no teammates here to support him.
Just for the record as well, that one map where we did see KNG struggle, it was particularly Zand and Chello at the very top of the performance board for the Brazilians. We'll see if they can replicate that performance. So far, so good into the B bomb site. Potential insurance policy with Yell wrapping on A. Kerrigan gets close, spotted, and does damage KNG as he falls into the bomb site, but he's not going to find any opening off of this. And now Yell's looking to stack up the cash, rack in the money.
INTZ do a good job of hunting down all of these kills with the SMGs. About, well, 3 of them go the way of the SMGs, which is nice. They won't have to upgrade as well. EnVy know that they're going to be going up against a team who only has, or has majority SMG, or 2 SMGs, but I don't think that they're going to buy. I think they have below a necessary amount of money to be able to put together a decent buy. I don't think they can afford an op or anything like that. Looks like, yeah, they're just going to save this round as well. Could have put pistols on the board, but we know they like to go for double op setups whenever possible, and that has been a key to success for them, especially in comebacks on the CT side. So always smart about making sure they have the utility and good weaponry. And on this round, we've got that cheerleader stack at Old Bomb, along with drone spotting to see if anybody comes out Ivy, because they don't want to get shot in the side of the head with this setup. Kanji lurks his way out to the top of blue, and Zand is about to help him, and his teammates cross into the side. A great nade to knock out the cheerleader stack, and Drone at least gets the CZ kill at the end.
He just blew open the bleachers. Off the back of that, nothing more. So, easy peasy. 2 frags, that's it for EnVy so far into this one. We're back into the gun rounds now.
Yeah, so we're going to have the double op setup most likely. I think Nifty, although he has been a secondary, has picked it up quite often. No, it's actually 3 AUGs this time around, and everybody spent all their money. So full nade sets for all of EnVy. They get the 1 op on JDM, and we'll see if he can continue to have good form and success. So I think they threw a combination smoke and Molotov at the T-Con, so that might have been a bit of a flub. Nifty releases the smoke, and JDM is prepared for the ramp rush. Is there on a fast rotate. I thought Nifty was definitely going to get pushed. And I think asked for a team flash to peek the upper portion of the map. Just playing this angle very carefully not to fall off. We'll spot Chello. More of a boon for him that he takes some damage and doesn't take that fight, because they're up 5v4 at this point. Ooh. Op retrieved.
AK comes pirouetting downwards, so should be an indicator to JDM that there is an op on the other side. He's going to have to win another duel. The head boost hunting for him.
Nifty does like that train, so maybe there's a chance he can find an op pick. But it's actually JDM again who's going to be flex rotator. Almost forgot. Jump down on the ramp. The flash is only an after image flash. Yell comes down a nanosecond too late. JDM goes ahead and kills 3 actually this round from the exact same position. Will the bomb even get planted is the question at this point.
Really struggling to get their foot onto the B site. Nifty over the top of the smoke. Zan looked like he wanted to plant in it. Would have been a nice little off position. You know, maybe they don't get blown away by the grenades that still remained, or rather the ones that INTZ didn't know.
This is a huge round for EnVy. 5 alive so far. Chello will look for some type of exits, maybe, if he can get them. Because of the money spent from EnVy, it would be nice for him to do this. They've retained a little bit of utility, but it doesn't seem like Chello is going to find an easy kill and would much rather take this into the next round as they buy. KNG is going to need a drop, as he is the poorest of the bunch. Zan's got quite a bank, though. Is that 9,400? Holy smokes. He's going to drop an off the KNG, and everyone's going to pick up rifles. 1-3. As we move into round 5, and a simple round for JDM. I mean, just playing his spot and being in the right place at the right time was the tale of the tape.
Stuck to the most comfortable position for the first couple of kills. We saw that slight variation as he jumps on top of the train just because the continuous pressure began becoming predictable. And that's good. It's a good way for EnVy to get up on the board. They were looking a little outclassed at the start of things. You know, we had that read on the cheerleader stack. Big old pistol wraparound. First challenge here for INTZ coming off of map 1's loss.
Kerrigan's got some foes down here at Ivy. He's held onto his smoke. It suddenly just gets released as he understands the threat looming. INTZ always have it in their back pocket to potentially split through the back lanes, and they don't want to let that happen again. Ivy is so difficult to hold as a CT. Not discounting any Ts that can get to the top of it, though. That's not an easy task at all. Control smoke comes out. JDM throws a smoke in response. And they're doing a great job. It's INTZ who clearly want to take this. You know, the bomb being here, 2 other players being here. Sometimes it takes 2 full sets of utility, but I think at the point that they threw the control smoke, they thought, okay, we can at least get to the top of it, and now have the change of plans. Getting bled out on time as we cross the 40-second mark. And EnVy have all the map control. They still got ladder.
Yeah, this is where the question mark in my mind starts to begin over the top of the T side, right? We saw them in some very shaky mid-round calls when it came to their Brazilian matchup yesterday, and they're not going to have any information off of this. So they're playing down to the wire, and they're just relying on an easy push forward. Let's see if EnVy can throw back a wrench. We've got some immediate damage out of Cutler, dropping the bomb. 15 seconds left. Like, there's no real way for them to get into this round.
Dude, in my opinion, there's a difference between what we saw versus Furia and what we're seeing here. It's the exact same result where they're out of time and they can't get out on the site. But EnVy did such a better job of spacing out their utility, and Kerrigan had such a good read on what was going on in Ivy. There's no way he saw 3 players. but he had the idea that they might try to take it, spaced out his flashes, his nades, his Molotov, his smoke to delay for as long as possible, and then had JDM even come in at the end to throw his smoke at INTZ. And there at TCon at the 30-second mark, when he anticipated them continuing on for that split, for Drone to smoke out TCon, and then they jumped through the smoke. There was basically no play there. They were red the entire time. And I think that is really good for EnVy, who, and I can say this because Kerrigan tweeted it. He said he played and called like shit. Yeah, like badly yesterday. That was a direct quote, so that wasn't out of my mouth. But yeah, but today, I mean, there's already a stark difference as we're seeing him be more in tune with what exactly is happening.
I want to just compare and contrast that to what we were talking about before the game went live, right? We could hear the players out in the hallway. I was watching them. You know, Yell, the in-game leader who's calling for INTZ, has a lot of responsibility right now, and he has to cool off because it seemed pretty direct. It seemed pretty aggressive. Obviously, tempers flaring and emotions at a high. It was KNG who brought that back down. You know, he kind of got that team essence going, brought in the huddle, got the high fives out. But I don't want to see Yell like we just did after that round, you know, getting maybe a little too emotional way too early. It's the 6th round of a T side that didn't go right in the previous round, but this should not be the end of INTZ.
I wonder if INTZ are going to try the same thing. They've got 3 people here. And if they know there's going to be a big threat, they might try the exact same play. Drone stays strong even after taking that nade damage and immediately hits the headshot. Could have easily gotten traded out there. Not a bad way to attempt the take of ladder. Flash is sometimes insufficient. So as much as people will be like, why didn't they flash? That doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to do tricky stuff. And Drone will also fall back to safety as they make sure that his T-Con is covered, making this really difficult to trade. He can shroud himself amongst his teammates at this point and become a whole new threat. Smoke to back 6 to assist the INVy players in coming out. There's not going to be as many nades and attention to INVy this time around, but with heavy control, it's a pretty strong way to hold against this type of lurk.
Oh, he's watching though. Nobody's watching at all. Kerrigan was towards T-Con. Drone clearly caught off guard, and JDM was very wary of that deep old bomb wrap. Regardless, bomb's still thrown out into the open, so maybe they pick up these pieces. They do have somebody clearing out the back of INVy at this moment, being in the form of Cutler, so now INTZ just having to go for a standard push from what seems like T-Con into A, and it's not going to work at all. Those rotations from EnVy were active. Sure, INTZ find their timing, but it's lacking in explosiveness with that bomb being dropped inside of the train.
They pull the lurk out, and they almost get to the outside side in time, but as you said, EnVy were just fine in their spots. Kerrigan had them cut off at the pass, and although they lurked out and got that really good kill on Drone, good awareness to spam over top of the smoke, probably was a difficult target to find. Everybody else from EnVy was fully aware and made sure that there was no other leaks in the faucet. 3-3 as we move into round 7. INTZ are on a 4-sub, a half 4-sub. They've invested in 1 AK, it looks like. Everybody else on 2K as they run outside quickly.
Here we go. A couple of headshots. 3 frags for Kerrigan, in fact, so damage from downrange. Yell and Zan left up within the trains. They do have bomb, plenty of time, and now an AK. So, let's see it. Give us a ripper of a headshot, and maybe the bomb goes into the plant zone, but no sir. Cutler from the heavens above strikes down 2 with lightning bolts on the SG-553. And we have EnVy starting to rack up rounds on the defense.
It was all Kriegs and Augs, and definitely there, you know, very quickly we could see the impact of the pistol and subsequent anti-ecos dissipate as EnVy start to put together not only the eco rounds themselves, but the rifle rounds, and it seems like they've had even more success on those ones. So what is INTZ's response here? Are they going to go back to INVy control? I think it is really sick that teams can take INVy control and do it consistently. That's not an easy job by any means. But with EnVy having a good response, that's going to be such a big beast to take down. JDM also, starting off this round, 5v4, has done a fantastic job of finding that opening kill with his AWP. No answer for how to trade. Chello looking like he's fumbling around between his weapons and nades to figure out what's the ideal way to be able to cross safely. Eventually, we'll recover the AK, but that's a gun that EnVy will let them have for free, no problem. He's also made his way around to the other side of the map. There's still a somewhat forward aggressive setup from the CTs, but no need to actually push for control of anything. If they fail in the site holds at this point, that's really on their individual players.
Really seems like the positioning from EnVy on A has been very open to the avenue of attack. You know, they're posturing themselves to be hit from ladder or anywhere else, but it's over to the B site that the T's do trickle down. Kerrigan stopping the first one, damaging the next, and it falls on Nifty, who's caught as the smoke fades, opening up his position and opening up an opportunity for the Brazilians. They have their bomb plant. Cutler from downtown on the scope, just like JDM, is looking for the movement that's coming out of INTZ. They do have drone on that flank, but he's waiting. He's waiting and sitting back. They've got 2 kits, smoke, flashes. It could all get rolling forward, but when? That is the question. When? Here comes Drone. Finally, once the first teammate dies, he has to do it all, and he's gonna be denied. Destiny, 2 headshots to win the clutch and tie things up at 4.
Sick awareness. Destiny could not move from that position, so he had to just dismantle the crossfire completely, and he did work doing that. Getting down to the inside site was an interesting bout. I think the one kill I had a question mark over was with Nifty, because we saw before he scoped in that the smoke had dissipated on his screen, but he didn't seem to notice whatsoever. Sat out in the open and gave them an opening back into the round. So rough round there for EnVy as they attempt to hold. They at least have the 2v1 towards the end. But again, a clutch play from Destiny to pull it back and pull INTZ back. Now, in terms of money, because they only won with 1 alive, they're buying down to 0. They're at risk of being reset. They at least are able to afford an op. But what exactly are their options? This was a round that was won not only 1v2, but 4v5. Super sick entries as well from Chello. And what is a 3-piece actually on the round for Destiny.
Yep. Plays a key piece in getting the bomb down, then follows suit with frags and fire.
Destiny coming out to T-Con, and that's what I was talking about. Sometimes you just want a flash. Sometimes it's something as simple as a flash can be enough to stop a T-Con push. Drone getting out the ladder is just as a huge piece of control. Look at this. I mean, they don't even clear it, and they don't have anybody watching it. So he can not only sit here, but once he gets this kill, it's just going to cause them so much anxiety as they have to pick up the flank as well as put the bomb down and try to do it safely.
Oh, and they're still being attacked from all over. Drone actually up in this situation, finally does die to Destiny, but all the while, bomb not planted. It's actually been thrown out onto the dirt of the site. They're going to have to throw down their last smoke too, trying to create this temporary cover, trying to find gun duels that favor them. Where have the CTs got off to? That's Nifty caught for a second time. Throwing out grenades from Z. Zan creeps through smoke, and that's not going to work out at all. Drone, big play this time.
Yeah, monstrosity of a play from Drone. Really sick stuff, holding onto ladder. Not only that, but just getting there, like one flash, crosses to ladder. Nobody's there to rush ladder because it's much farther of a choke point. And then they throw everything they've got in the kitchen sink at ladder, but that's not enough. He gets the kill, flies out, and then once he's in the open, even gets a kill at that point for extra credit. And because INTZ couldn't trade him, because they just kind of skipped their angles, they lose. Ultimately, if you're going to do a T-Con rush like that, and you have any thought that maybe somebody got the ladder, you've got to smoke it right away.
There's Drone with another early one. Frag grenade from Kerrigan's going to do a lot of damage. All the remaining Brazilian players have been smashed wide open in terms of health. The op retrieved does cut down another. In fact, Destiny's on for 3 frags at the moment. This would be a hell of a round from him alone. We've already seen him go big on the B site just prior, and he's going to have a chance to catch his breath now.
Yeah, this is nice. He gets to reset the situation, take the op and his nade and his 19 HP and all of that talent back towards T-Con or potentially inner. As for EnVy, I mean, they only have to play middle of the site. It's so easy to rotate on this map, so they can play from heaven or within Z. And Cutler's got this pretty much locked down. That's going to be a hard thing to clear. And just look at the innumerable angles that Destiny has to consider as he walks outside. Ultimately, will have to take a risk. And there is an angle here where he can plant the bomb that Cutler will not be able to shoot down from. But, yeah, and it looks like Destiny is going to pick that right spot. It's not going to get too aggressive from this spot, but eventually Cutler peaks just as he drifts away and closes out the round with ease.
I was thinking to myself as well, you know, you got Cutler and Nifty alive in what seems like a pretty tense, you know, mid-round situation. This is one of the duos that pulled off the 2v4 on Dust, you know, so you know the synergy's there. Communication on a one-to-one level seemed all right just earlier. And this time, despite not being side by side, they still work in unison to clutch out the round. Now, considering how much was invested, I gotta say, props to Destiny. You know, trying to step up and be that individual level That one step above.
Last bullet CZ shot and the op flick. Yeah, I mean,
Barely keeping him in it, but...
And then he gets the plant. So not only do they have to congratulate him, like, hey, nice play that round, he's also giving them $800 each.
I'd keep a friend.
That's the kind of friend we all seek to find. Yeah, absolutely.
You got your wallet?
I actually don't use a wallet.
Oh.
Not a big fan of those thick boys.
This wizard pays with his phone. And Chello pays with his life. Not much invested in this one, as we said, but Destiny still on a tear. This guy won't stop until Kerrigan forces him to break. 3 Ts left up, continuing to try and pressure this A site, but it's a 1 versus 1 affair every time. We've just got INTZ trickling inwards, bomb carrier included, with Yell taking the top side of Blue Train, down range with the Deeg, sees the head in Z, and smashes it wide open. But Kerrigan, in the exact same spot, drops another body. Vito comes out from the ladder room. Kerrigan's cutting them all down.
It's been a multitude of ecos for INTZ, and EnVy will clean another one up. Looking just as strong as they did on Dust 2. Again, it's a pistol round to prop up the rounds won by INTZ. If they hadn't won that pistol in the subsequent anti-ecos, and remember, it was a double save as EnVy wanted to be able to afford an op and all their armor, then we have the exact same score as we did on Dust 2, basically. So they at least pulled that out, and once this half is over, can forget about it. But I really did expect more from INTZ's T side. We saw some cool strats that they pulled out. They were able to juggle rotates and be very mysterious about what they wanted to try to pull off. In this half, have played a whole lot more standard, and EnVy have also just gotten the opening kill so early, almost every single time, that throws a spanner in the works. Nifty. Does he win this duel? Yeah, Zan. Perched up on top of the box isn't enough to get the kill, but Chello's right there to support his friend.
Drone looking hungry for a trade frag. You know, at least now its presence known inside of the box halls, and an opening that has the curiosity of INTZ.
We saw them group towards inner, 4v5, this time 4v4, and actually win the round. It did come close. Kerrigan was first man up, and that's not going to be any different here. Smoke comes out, he'll call his teammates to potentially rotate over to help him, but he's not got the best gun to support himself here. Oh, wow.
Damn. Chello just deletes him. So no hold at all until JDM gets his scope in position. We do still have Drone on that proactive flank, and more active this time than last. Remember, he waited for the other players to get that retake rolling before he made his move. Flash comes out versus KNG. Drone gets him completely blind. That was a solar flare. Now we have Destiny inside of the smoke. Look at a trade frag deep down. He goes to the hands of Cutler. Yell to clutch, and he's already been spotted. It's a smooth, easy retake from Team EnVy. They'll follow suit with the defuse to 8-4.
How important was that opper back pop? That was the most beautiful flash you could possibly ask for on a big flank.
Right.
You know, Drone just patient, communicative, and JDM lines it up to perfection. It was probably offhanded the way he ran and threw it, but he had that trajectory down pat. Fantastic stuff as EnVy seal up around on the B site. This time, more success on the retake than the last, and started off with less players than they had, and also lost Kerrigan immediately. Kerrigan got 1.5 kills the last time, and he couldn't do that here. So a lot of things counting against INTZ. Not a single timeout called for EnVy yet.
No need, really. I mean, ever since we had the pistol win and conversion for the 3-0 start, we've only had INTZ add 1 extra round to the board, and it was the immediate reset. You know, so they don't feel as though they've been in the hot seat. It's cool, calm, and collected in Katowice.
Nasty entry from Chello. Hard clears Kerrigan. Not a chance for him to win that duel.
Cutler piecing together quite the game as well, just next to Kerrigan and JDM.
What's he up to?
Cutler, after that round, 10-4.
Nice. It's been pretty much all of EnVy looking so much better than they did yesterday.
And frags from Cutler in the mid round too, right? Think about when he's up in the heavens on the A site. This time, obviously, back on the retake of B. So good on him, putting himself in important positions and coming out on top.
Kerrigan offering a change up here, getting very aggressive at Ivy with the smoke as well, to just push back the time for INTZ. Just making it so that even if they come back and the CTs aren't here, it takes much longer for them to get set up. But look how dedicated they actually are. Ooh, looking for a boost. JDM almost lines that up. And Kerrigan goes ahead and takes him out. That was long distance.
Yeah. Just spraying through the smoke. They're lining up, anticipating a closer player, and he does get one on the peak.
Holy smokes, JDM.
He's pinned into the server.
His support is coming.
In the form of 2, Kerrigan and Drone. That does open up the A site in the sense no one's watching T-Con for a moment, but Drone, once Kerrigan has that hole plugged up, will double back to his initial position.
Outside is not going to be easy if Cutler stays in ladder. Again, ladder control has been a feature of EnVy CT side that has been kind of indomitable for INTZ.
We saw how Drone handled the heat when they had him tucked away in the ladder. Wow, what a headshot. Farewell, Destiny. He's met his fate. Chello, headshot, however, back into the site. That does kind of ease the bomb's exit. 20 seconds left over. Not the best position for them to be in. They have to chase down JDM, and in doing so, they've lost that bomb. Now 10 seconds left over. It's Cutler and Kerrigan both inside, but Cutler's smoke falls back on his face. 6 seconds, they need to just run out. Zand has to give cover. They're gonna run out blind. That's an easy first pickup, but Kerrigan has the element of surprise here.
Yeah, he could walk out.
There's the first, how about a second? Yells the bomb planter, and he's wrapped around to the safety of the armored car. Now, Kerrigan has to figure out where he is, and he reads him like
oh my god, what? He actually hits the headshot too. I was thinking Yell creeps into that angle, Kerrigan gets a bit of damage, but he dies.
Nope. Not at all. Kerrigan, 3 frags for him. You think about that, Lunders. He was the player that helped JDM towards the server of INVY, and we have him at the end of the round coming down ladder room.
How could you expect it?
Exactly.
Yeah, a really good way to abuse the fact or just exploit the fact that he's such low HP, maximizing his potential in that round. Took the damage so early on. Good kills all around from EnVy, and they win another one. This time it's a clutch. And it calls for extraordinary individual efforts, but they deliver on that front, and there's a lot of players who can on this team, as well as on the other team. But INTZ fall another round, and are they going to go fast inner? Nifty looks
like it.
Kind of prepared. What kind of nades does he have left? The 2 maybe most important ones. Initial smoke goes out. Rotate is in. Drone is here to fast flank. They've seen him fast flank many, many times in situations like this, and yeah, KNG goes ahead. Tackles that frag, but Nifty's still up.
Yep, Nifty is up, but he's let a flare pass. Chello clearing him from the bomb site itself. Kerrigan completely nullified because of the smoke grenade, so the terrorists have an opening, a big one at that. But we've seen fantastic retakes so far on Train. So let's see if EnVy have got one more in their back pocket. JDM fully exposed, almost hits that flick up, but he does fall in the end. Man advantage is sustained for the time being. Kerrigan creeping inwards, bomb near halfway gone, and Yell will give up his back. Kerrigan inching forward as Cutler serves as a distraction. The utility here will cover off the defuse from Kerrigan. Zand's gonna have to go for the peak, but it's not a stick. This one is. No, not even. Kerrigan putting in all of the work, jumps back on for the defuse. Does he have it? Absolutely. Double digits for EnVy.
What can you say about that one? Insane play from Kerrigan. I was just gonna talk about how INTZ did a good job of compromising all the positions on that site. A second round where they get out and take out Nifty. One of those rounds they even took out Kerrigan without him getting a kill, and they perform another retake. That was pretty sick stuff. I'm surprised Yell didn't check his right side, but I mean, for whatever reason, Kerrigan had a good feeling he could walk the entire way, and it was the correct play. So EnVy get into double digits nice and early as we move into round 15. Looking, again, just as strong as they did on Dust 2.
This is rapid, though. They want to make the T side come to a close. JDM cuts off Yell, but it's not going to prevent this forward footing. Check it out. 2 Ts on the bomb site with some smoke up to cover. They could plant. Destiny's going to go ahead and activate bomb. Cutler strikes from above yet again. He's been a constant nuisance from this position. And Team EnVy have been consistently winning on the retake, so let's go one more time. The last round of the T side here for the Brazilians, and it falls onto Chello entirely. Peeks out from T-Con, giving his position away, and Nifty just needs to keep him pinned in. Someone's eventually going to jump on the bomb, and Chello, well, Chello's nowhere to be found here. That is it. 11-4 on the half. Team EnVy denying the Brazilians success, and now we'll swap over to see who goes home. It could be right here, right now, folks. Don't go too far. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half of the second map of the elimination best of 3 here.
The last half, Connor?
I'm not going to say it,
Okay,
Mohan.
you're not going to say it. That's fine.
Not just yet. Because this is their map choice. I think that they should have some level of comfort, and we haven't seen EnVy with flawless series. We've seen them with strong maps, most notably Dust 2. And yes, this beginning on Train was convincing, but will they finish strong? Could come to a grinding halt. The initial kill does go to Yell, and Destiny's got a double.
Collateral.
Looking good as the flank comes through from KNG. 4 survivors as INTZ started off.
The rarest of collaterals, a USP collateral. I mean, it could happen on the pistol round where no one's got head armor, sure, but it's still such a rare thing to see. The 2 kills coming from 1 bullet, really nice stuff. 6 rounds of difference, and INTZ have already dashed the hopes of people who were thinking this was going to be a simple and easy EnVy winning 2-0. Just as you mentioned, have not been able to pull that off so far, so that would be new territory for them. But, oh boy, would it make tomorrow's match interesting if they were able to pull off something like that. A test of their composure, certainly, as we move into this anti-eco.
Yeah, just straight up aggression. Zan's actually going to lose his life, and the top peak from Drone does have KNG keeping his head on a swivel. Will there be a bomb plant? That's the question. It has been thrown forward, and Destiny saves the day. Man, that's like the fastest second round I've ever seen.
As good of a start as it was, they didn't get the bomb plant, so that's going to affect things kind of. The thing is, though, that there's not actually going to be a free farm round, which is an interesting turn in the meta. EnVy will call their first tac pause of the half, I believe, and it's INTZ to have to figure out how many SMGs they want to buy. So with the amount of money left over... Oh, wait a second. That was the... No, the one save... Oh, what am I talking about? That was the round that they could have bought. They could have forced AKs. Yeah, they have enough money to buy. They got the bomb plant. Or they didn't get the bomb plant, but they have the extra round saved. I'm going crazy. I'm losing it.
Y'all good?
But INTZ are going to buy up, and I guess will not be probably buying SMGs unless they're crazy.
Should I keep some space between us?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Listen, I've got a long reach, so depends how long your headphone cord is.
John Jones over here. The John Jones of Counter-Strike, folks.
Yeah, I skipped leg day too.
Into the guns, no op up for either side. So the sniper duel that I was hoping for, just not going to find itself in the early days of Team EnVy's T side.
Yeah, we might see the sniper duel come out, and it's probably the best matchup of any minor that we've seen so far. Both offers are totally on form.
So you guys know what I want. Let's see if EnVy can get what they want. Clean entries? No, sir. 2 immediate frags come off of the defense. Drone on site trying to clear bodies. Doesn't actually finish the man up and above, and Cutler can't catch any. Therefore, first gun round immediately taken down by the CT side, and in convincing fashion.
Yeah, the execute looked nice, but the spots that INTZ picked were great. We saw Chello's off angle as a player swung wide across E-box. Stood absolutely no chance. So picking perfect positions to play from, and Destiny's spot in heaven is always really good to play to watch over top of smokes and versus outside executes. You also don't have to worry about your teammates or where what's behind you and everything like that when you're in heaven, which is nice. No chance to get flanked for the early portion of the round. And just like that, EnVy are back on pistols. We know like they'd like to turn up the pace on their T sides. And again, it could be in an effort to try to mitigate to the amount of thought that goes into rounds if you draw them out. So I feel like there is a direct correlation between how inexperienced you are and how many fast rounds you should have, just because it's kind of crazy to expect everybody to be well coordinated and thought out for an entire minute, 45 seconds. Zand here is standing on the top pop with a UMP, and he does get flashed, but he falls back. His teammates will try to assist him, but JDM goes for that trade. Looks like a bomb plant. Might be in the books as Kerrigan gets that one off.
Yeah, get a little fat stack in the back pocket.
Damn, hell of a game for him. 20 kills, 113 ADR.
Well, here's the thing is, if you look at the kill-death distribution, I know we had this conversation on a previous series where I said, Kerrigan not only brings this level of composure and experience to the team, but surely he'd be able to frag out versus others at the North American Minor. We haven't had that.
Does Nifty have 2 kills?
At the moment?
Yeah.
Yes,
is that correct? Oh, that's so weird. I mean, he just had such a crazy map, and he's having 2 kills. Yesterday, he had a bad day, so this is not a good sign, I want to say. Obviously, EnVy have had such a good half overall that might not matter. And actually, because he only has 2 kills, but they got the CT rounds out of the way, it's less unnerving, at least for the rest of his team, I'm sure, that they can put everybody else up front to do the dirty work and force saves out of INTZ before they even have to use him.
I mean, you got a run boost. This could be so dangerous with Destiny being this close. He hears all of the sound, and Cutler's going to give cover and then get an additional kill. Double headshot on Ivy, calls KNG over, and Chello peeks up ladder. This is a little bit of an attempt from the defense to play an aggressive stance at a man disadvantage. You know, they say the best defense is a strong offense, and I think INTZ embody that in this round. Zand, in fact, is that 3rd player looking for a kill, catches Drone with his head turned, and Nifty will have a chance to trade frag, but he can't win his duel.
Oof, that was a nice peek from Zand. Really clean headshot. And although the Ivy trades go the way of EnVy, the rest of the round doesn't. In fact, everything goes south. And although they can get the bomb down, or the bomb back, it doesn't seem like they're even confident in doing that quickly. Clock will tick down. 45 seconds up as they try to seek out where Chello might have pushed to if he did at all. But he has not gotten that much information. Is now rested passive, which is totally fine for him and his team. And we see how much time gets burned off the clock once you know a CT has pushed. Even if he disappears, he's pushing this execute farther and farther back. EnVy will now move over towards B. Chello's here just a spot, so there's potential here for the bomb to go down. And it looks like he wants to throw a flash in response, maybe take this fight.
Oh, fully blind.
Great flash, yeah.
Pulls it down a little bit. If he could drop the bomb, then that's real problems. It's a desperate plant for Cutler, and he knows he can't get it in, so maybe deal some damage. An attempted escape. Caught by KNG.
Played well by Chello. Even though he was far back, he seemed fully prepared. I thought he fell asleep at the wheel there as he was at the top of the bomb with his knife out, but knew exactly what kind of play he wanted to make, got a lot of value out of that flashbang. Definitely pushed things back a bit. Could have seen a plant come out from Cutler if he had not gotten flashed earlier on there, but what a fantastic push from Zand. It was unfortunate timing for EnVy as they were holding for that for so long, but at this point it's INTZ starting to string these rounds in succession. A full-on buy though as JDM gets his op. Instant pressure towards the inner site. Chello here. And certainly we're going to see some crazy ladder shenanigans. So we let the rounds move forward. There's not any other pushes from INTZ. Congregation of the T's towards the lower ramp. And it'll take a good flash to mess Zand up. So if they don't hit this, he's got a bunch of easy kills on his hands.
Good spacing with that smoke. Just going to reset the time of which EnVy should have to wait. Could always just go charging forward, but drone would kill him, you'd think. Another one.
They're going to have to go through this.
Yep.
Oh.
Or not. Drone will. Died the moment he emerges from the smoke. And Kerrigan's actually going to get the spray back through, but Chello, hello. 3 headshots from the bottom of ladder, and it's all on Kerrigan. Through the floor, he'll find him, but then what? How are you going to get out from this position with 35 seconds? You won't. Bomb thrown down and INTZ double digits.
Disgusting round from Chello. We definitely need to watch that back. I mean, he probably didn't have to move his crosshair very much, but he had lined it up well. So, I mean, that's something you freeze frame and take with you into your next match. And the next time you want to sit under a ladder, that's how you deal with that pressure. Tough round for EnVy to lose. Kerrigan actually does get the trade through the smoke and the trade at ladder, probably the 2 hardest kills of the round, but it's only after his teammates die, after Drone dies going down the lower ramp, after 3 of his teammates die trying to rush down the ladder. And it was a change of pace, and a change of heart, I should say, towards ladder in the last few seconds, because they didn't expect 3 smokes to come down the lower ramp. That was a perfect play from INTZ. The same thing that we lauded EnVy for doing in the first half with Kerrigan re-smoking Ivy, having JDM re-smoke Ivy, until the point that it made the other team look stupid. That's exactly what INTZ did to EnVy. Although there was nothing wrong with their strat, they could not get inside safely. That's bottom line. If there was more of a focus towards upper, they could have maybe pulled something off, but that wasn't, the smokes and nades that they threw weren't conducive to them having majority go at upper. Otherwise, they almost certainly would have turned their attention that way.
Pistols and a little bit of utility here being thrown out for EnVy. Let's see if the Hail Mary can get anything done. Got that push, getting Yell off of his initial position, and he buys a little time, catching JDM. You know, stays composed and finds the player. Now, Cutler and Nifty, nothing further, so it seems. CZ down to 6 shots. And there he goes. We're all tied up at 11 rounds apiece. This is flawless so far from the CT side of INTZ.
Absolutely not a scoreline I'd see, and you know that's a fantastic comeback by them. They've definitely earned their way back into this game. A lot of hard rounds that they've had to pull out. Good setups across the board, and they are absolutely giving EnVy a run for the money here on T side. I would say a lot of the strats that they've run have been pretty reasonable and well thought through, and at the point of a couple of trades, EnVy could have won them. But overall, you got to give the edge to INTZ, not only individually, but tactically, as they have a good beat on what's happening. Destiny swings out in front of JDM, eliminating the player who was so good at getting 5v4s in the first half. And Yell also couples that with a kill at Ivy.
Yeah, there was 2 players alone in this default coming out of EnVy. One on Ivy's side and the other T-Con, both of which died as separate duels. You know, Yell's aggressive op just goes flying forward. He didn't even really have much support. So that was a 1v1 that could have gone either way. But as we're beginning to be accustomed to on this CT side, it just seems like INTZ get the best of it over and over.
Bunch of strong pushes here in this game on the CT side. And this 3v5, I mean, the worst part is you're like, all right, I hope they make a mistake. But if they don't make a mistake, we've got a minute to try to save. It might not feel like a competitive round. There is definitely a way back into it, potentially. But will EnVy find that exploit? What do they have to work with? See, if we look at a lot of these duels, you know, it's angles being held. If the right angle is cleared, they could go down. But you know that they're sitting in these spots because they're comfortable here. They can also fall back once they take a shot. If they get info, they can alert their team. And there will be some kind of attempt, a smoke to help them get outside potentially. Good flash across, but Yell and Chello are right there to clean up.
Bam. 5 alive for the CT side, and this is looking flawless. I mean, you take into consideration that they only had 4 rounds in the first half, but 3 of them come by way of pistol. You know, they've won both pistols for the full 6 points, and now it's 4 real gun rounds, if not 5 real gun rounds after the fact, all being added to the tally. So it feels like ages ago since we've had EnVy in any control of not just, you know, the game, but rounds in and of themselves. Like, when was the last time you saw them with a man advantage? When was the last time they had a bomb plant? Well, there was only 1 defuse so far on this second CT side. Then add in the fact, right, with all of that, that you had 5 defuse wins for EnVy on their CT side. That means at least we've had this active attempt from INTZ. They've had accomplishments, but just poor post plants. It's not as though they were out of this game despite the score saying otherwise, and I feel like I'm only now realizing that because of how convincing the defense is.
I think all the CT rounds from both sides have been pretty convincing. Even some of those retakes, I mean...
We're straight through.
They were straight through. Yeah, they were
alive and whatnot.
Yeah, they were pretty... It didn't look like INTZ could get much going. They did get the one, you know, even the round that, like, one of the retakes that came close, they won 1v2.
Yeah.
You know, that was basically the only round they got, actually.
What's wild is that even though those retakes looked like they were always going to win, and the terrorists really didn't seem like they had footing, at least when it was INTZ, they had more of a chance.
Sure, and they get money from those post plants too, which is huge. EnVy are having less chances to buy in this second half because they haven't been able to plant the bomb.
EnVy out here starving in the second half. This round 2, no difference. You know, we've got a scout on Cutler. Great scout player. You know, he's good when he takes it over JDM and Nifty. But nowhere to be found at the moment. His 2 players in front of him go out to die, and he has to double back so that he can support bomb possibly at the B site. Or do they go down ladder?
Yeah, maybe Drone's just gonna, all right, they're ready for me, that's fine. Cutler goes ahead, finds a scout headshot.
Puts things in some question. Zan's gonna get aggressive. He finds JDM, and more importantly, the bomb. Gifted on a silver platter, it falls at the feet of Zand and the CTs. Cutler, last one alive, only one on the board for EnVy this round. His death is looming near. He can feel it, he can smell it in the air. And down he goes. Destiny catches the headshot. INTZ now 13-11. This right here is going to be 9 rounds in a row at the moment.
Yeah, And that's daunting to have to think about coming back from, for sure. Really, really tough. There's only going to be a couple more rifle rounds. And again, maybe the biggest beast at this point is just EnVy even getting the bomb down so they can have chances, more opportunities to buy. They do have a very healthy one here. Might be the last one we see of this health in this match. So could be a pivotal round. Round 25 starts to roll on. The smokes and flashes come outside. No players have committed apart from Nifty just yet. He has snuck out to Olaf. And it looks like they are trying to bait out a rotation or a push from inner. That hasn't come, however. And INTZ, will they be scratching their heads? They don't have anyone forward enough to see over top of these smokes, so they don't know if people have snuck out. They can be aware of it, but what actually happens is the rotates get held outside. So inner could be very tasty here for the hit for the T's.
Yeah, seems to have finally pieced itself together well. San, seeing the utility come out, clearly now knows that there is somebody here, but how many? You know, you've only had a single grenade come flying forward, so you may not anticipate 4 terrorists within this bomb site. And not just the bomb site now, but Kerrigan tucked away in Z. It's crucial that Chello wins that duel in the backhauls. It's really going to enable now the pinch onto the bomb site. EnVy's constantly going to be asking themselves, at what point does he hit? And they've lost Kerrigan, that forward anchor. An additional duel picked up to the favor of INTZ, and it's just Drone pinched for the moment as Nifty has to get into position, but he's the only player left. Kills Yell, sure enough, but the bomb's not planted for him, and he's still so outnumbered that the retake is successful.
Oh my god.
A flawless CT side.
Absolutely destroyed on that retake. There was a huge advantage for EnVy moving into that. They had the open site, lots of time to take off the bomb, and not a single trade as all of the kills fell into place with the T's in their optimal after-plant positions. JDM gets his kill. Maybe it's a whole different round, but he already did his part, kind of, you know, getting those two, or getting that initial frag on the person threatening the lower ramp. And then, yeah, as we see in the highlights, I mean, it's just a series of smart individual decisions and awareness as to where EnVy might be hiding. But they get the bomb down, they get another plant, and yeah, I lied. There is at least a better buy here than anticipated. The Molotov is not good, however. That's going to cost Drone his life. Somehow hits the lip of a wall and then bounces back. And I guess when it rains, it pours. So that was unfortunate.
Run boost doesn't have that third player to support it this time. Cutler will still be able to trade after JDM effective with the op. Nifty down to a single bit of health. And Cutler, I think, is going to have to be the difference maker if they're going to pick up this round. Tapping away at the sniper, jumping for cover, and he cannot get it. Kerrigan Nifty having to walk out onto the bomb site with a minute left. They can at least create some ambiguity here. Create a question for INTZ to answer. Where have they got off to? Making noise not going to keep them shrouded in secrecy.
He doesn't seem aware of the thought that he could get ops here, and KNG has that site cut off.
Bogdan's Law in full effect. Nifty comes up empty-handed too, firing off, giving the info to KNG. You know, he's back here on IEM. He heard one AK fire, clearly cuts off that bomb, and then with the op shooting two, it's all too easy.
Last tack called for EnVy, and it is last chance saloon. That's right.
Nifty, my man.
Tough map for him, no doubts. Overall, the entries, I honestly don't feel like he's affected their ability to get out into sites. He's almost never died first on entries. Maybe could have been a key player in pulling together rounds once they got those entries. But in my opinion, looking at this half objectively, it seems like there was some decent strats and a lot of individual failures, especially in that last post-plant situation. But like even that one was just Nifty coming at the end. His teammates really needed to get the kills. There was a round where Drone ran through a smoke on lower ramp, but that was because Nifty or INTZ played it well. I feel like there's a lot to credit about the way that INTZ have played their CT side as opposed to negatives for EnVy. I've seen some strats that I really like. Even on the straight outside rushes with all of their nades, there was so many good angles being held and spots that were chosen properly from INTZ to deny the outside pushes. It's just been a very CT-sided game.
75% of the T rounds won were by pistol or conversion. You know, let that sink in. One single gun round this entire time. Clearly belonging to INTZ. We're about to seal off map 2. And we were thinking at the end of that first half, our first best of 3 here at the the NA Minors, or America's Minors, as INTZ are now making them clear.
It is a fallacy to believe that just because one team plays well, that the other must be playing badly. I think this is a perfect example of that.
Great point indeed. Destiny cuts off the exit from T-Con. The damage is substantial and the opening's still there, but Nifty, 4-20. With his head in the clouds, has to somehow find a round on the board for his team, and the spray doesn't connect, folks. A flawless CT side. I don't know what he told them at halftime, but it definitely reinvigorated life, and I think you put it best. Just because one team's playing well doesn't mean the other's playing poorly. INTZ turning it around after those first 15 and giving us a masterclass on the defensive side of Train, folks. This means we're going to overpass. Our map 3 elimination game, this is where Team 1 fell at the hands of EnVy. Can INTZ get revenge for their brethren? Well, it's time to find out.